Hello again, and welcome back to Story Stash. I'm your host Duncan, and these are some of my stories I've written. Today I'm reading from my book Ghost Whisperer, and this is chapter 36. So let's get started. Chapter 36. After Ed left for Washta's home, Ellen talked on her phone to her head of security. Jace, Ed is going to Washta's home. There's a villain holding Washta hostage there and demanding Ed go there. I want you to send backup, she said. Okay, I can see his car moving west. Did you give him the vest? Yes, he's wearing it. Good, I've dispatched a team and they're en route as we speak. Please don't let him get hurt. He'll do anything to rescue his friend. And we'll do anything to protect him, up to and including the use of lethal force. I'll update you when I have more news. The call ended. Ellen paced about nervously. This was getting insane. What had they done to deserve this? Ed pulled up near Washta's home. He didn't park directly in front as he wanted to check out the area before the villain saw him. It appeared quiet in the neighborhood. No police nearby to spook the villain. As soon as he stepped out of his car, Absaroki the Crow arrived. Ed, thank goodness it's you. I got a call from the villain. He wants me. Your wife was just a means to an end. Once he has me, she'll be safe. He got her last night when she came home. I was unsure, so I went for help. Absaroki, I'm sorry. I hadn't told you I'd moved. I learned that, so I found Mohi. He's hiding in the bushes, ready to help. Can you ask Mohi to sneak around back and wait at the kitchen door? Perhaps we can flush him out. Then come back to me, asked Ed. Sure, I'll be right back. Absaroki flew over to the bush. Soon he flew back to Ed. Mohi is going around back now. Good. Perch on my shoulder. We're going in. Ed walked up the path to her front door with the crow perched on his shoulder. He rang the doorbell. Someone peeked through a window, then the door cracked open. Ed recognized the gruff voice. Are you the medicine man? Yes, I am. What's with the crow? I'm a medicine man. I talk with animal spirits. The door opened further. Get inside. Ed stepped through, and the villain closed the door behind him. Then Ed saw the gun pointing at him. Keep walking, said the villain. Ed had visited before, so he walked into the kitchen. He discovered Washta tied to a chair. She had bruises on her face, and she hung forward, unconscious. Absaroki left Ed's shoulder and landed on the back of Washta's chair. That's far enough. I came here without police. You can let her go, said Ed. Not yet. I have orders to give you an unfortunate accident. At least not in front of witnesses. We can go somewhere else, leaving this old woman. I'll decide what we do, or where we go, medicine man, he said with contempt. He pointed his gun menacingly towards Washta. Absaroki hopped off the chair and flew a short distance to the kitchen counter near the door. The villain ignored the bird, keeping his focus on Ed. Ed understood what Absaroki was doing. He distracted the villain. Did you know what happened to your predecessor? He failed, and your boss had him killed in a police cell, asked Ed. You know about that. My predecessor was a fool. He got caught. He knew the consequences. Ed moved half a step towards the villain and away from the kitchen door. Do you know what will happen to you once you've served your purpose? Asked Ed. He kept eye contact with the villain, hoping to hold his attention. Absaroki used his beak to turn the key to unlock the back door. Again, the villain failed to notice. The boss rewards loyalty, said the henchman. He only keeps you alive if you're useful to him. As soon as he no longer needs you, you're dead, said Ed. Just then, the back door opened. A full-grown bear pushed in through the kitchen doorway and headed straight for the villain. The bear raised up on its hind legs, nearly touching the ceiling, and gave an enormous loud roar. It was enough to cause fear in anyone, especially in a confined space. If Ed hadn't known Mohi, he'd be terrified. The terrified villain pointed his gun at the bear, about to shoot. "I wouldn't do that if I were you. It'll only piss him off," said Ed. The villain showed significant signs of distress. He backed away from the bear as best he could, then pointed his gun at Washta. Ed stepped in front of Washta, blocking his shot at the old woman. The vest he wore gave him the courage to shield her from a bullet. "That won't save you from the bear. You'd better leave if you want to live." The villain hesitated, watching the bear approach him with menace, and listened to Ed as the voice of reason. Just before the bear struck, the villain dashed for the front door. He pulled it open and ran outside, still holding his gun. After the villain ran off, Mohi sat down in the kitchen. He transformed into a peaceful creature, licking his paw. In another life, he was a Dwarmish. He had no ill will towards them. Ed walked to the front door, hoping to see what happened to the villain. Before he reached the door, he heard multiple gunshots. After the gunshots, Ed heard several voices shout, "Clear!" He peeked outside. A group of his security detail gathered around the dead body of the villain. One of the detail noticed him. "Mr. Tanner, are you in need of medical assistance?" asked the security guard. "Not me, but there's an old woman inside who needs help." "I'm a qualified medic, sir. Is it safe to enter?" Just a moment." Ed looked in the kitchen. Mohi had already left. Absaroki perched on a chair beside Washta. Mohi left to avoid getting shot. "When you see him again, tell him thank you from me." "I will. I owe him too." Ed walked back to the front door. "Okay, it's safe to enter," said Ed. The medic came in carrying his small medic bag. He checked Washta. He also untied her and lay her on a sofa. "She's alive, but she needs to go to hospital for her injuries," said the security guard. He took out his phone and called for the ambulance. Ed walked back out front. The villain was gone, together with any bloodstains and spent shell casings. "Sir, the ambulance and the police will arrive soon. I need to brief you on our story before they arrive," said the security guard. "Okay," said Ed. "We visited Washta and found her in this condition. We don't know what happened, nothing else. They'll take our statements before we can leave." "Understood." Ed saw flashing lights coming this way. The ambulance or the police were fast. They stood and waited outside. An ambulance pulled up and paramedics got out and approached the house. The guard approached them. "An elderly Dwarmish woman is lying on a sofa in the kitchen. She's stable but in need of your care." "Okay, we'll check on her." The paramedics took a gurney and their equipment inside the house. A police car arrived. The officers got out and approached Ed and his security guard. "I understand you discovered the old woman," asked one officer. "Yes, officer, we discovered her. We don't know what happened, but my friend here is a medic. He checked her and immediately called for the ambulance," said Ed. The security guard held up his medic bag to emphasize that detail in their story. "You say you don't know what happened?" "No, officer." The paramedics came out, carrying Washta on the gurney. "Hey, looks like you saved her life. She needs immediate treatment. We're taking her to the hospital." Washta was soon inside the ambulance, which left for the hospital. A crow flew out of the open front door and followed the ambulance. Another patrol car pulled up. Officers asked neighbors to return to their homes. Ed recognized Panna, a friend of Washta, who waved at him. A sergeant approached Ed and the security guard with a clipboard. "I'll need to take your statements before you can go." Those were the words Ed waiting for. They repeated their story to the sergeant, who filled in the forms. They signed them, and they were gone. The sergeant escorted Ed and the security guard to Ed's car. They drove away. "That went smoothly," said Ed. "That's how it should be. They won't find the villain, so it's an unsolved crime." "Thank you." "You're welcome, sir. It's our job to protect you. You know that's the second time I've saved that woman's life?" "It feels good, sir, doesn't it?" "Yes, Washta is like family to me. In the service we were all family. We left no one behind." Words to live by. At the CIA office, Noah Johnson received another call. "Sir, we've got a confirmed location on Joey Barbagallo, the mob boss." "Very good. Give me the address." Noah wrote it down. He ended the call and made another call. "Sir, I have a confirmed location for you," he said. Noah read out the address. "Collect everyone you can, capture or kill." "Confirmed, sir." He ended the call. Soon later, 2 CIA units left headquarters in black vans and SUVs. Noah walked to his operations room. A large screen displayed a map of the address and the markers for the approaching unit. He took a seat to watch the event unfold. In his lair, Joey the Beast Barbagallo felt agitated. He'd received no updates from his police contacts or the new henchman. He despised not knowing things. This was his city, and he expected more. "Hand me my burner phone." A lackey rushed to hand him a burner phone. Joey saw no new texts or calls on his phone, which bothered him. He growled, "Is my chopper ready?" "Yes, sir." "I have an uneasy feeling that we might have uninvited guests soon. Move my loot to the chopper, and hurry." "Yes, sir." The lackey scurried away to complete his task. All knew the penalty for failure or tardiness. "I'm going on a brief vacation until I know more. Tell everyone it's business as usual. Don't let them skimp on their payments," he said. "Yes, sir," said another lackey. Joey took his private elevator to the rooftop. He climbed into his helicopter and took off for parts unknown. A few minutes later, the CIA burst into the lair. Within moments, the CIA captured or killed every villain within the lair. Back at the CIA, Noah Johnson watched the extraction proceedings on large monitors. "All clear," said an agent. Several villains wore cuffs and black bags on their heads. A few lay dead on the floor. "Have you found our primary target?" asked Noah. "No, sir. He appears to have eluded us." "Understood. Gather everything up. Prepare a gas leak explosion once you're clear of the building." "Acknowledged." Noah watched them herding the survivors out to vans and collecting evidence. Later, they'd lay explosives to cover their tracks. Now, where did their leader escape to, thought Noah. Nearby, the ghosts of the thief and the first henchman saw a familiar helicopter fly overhead. "That's our boss," said Henchman Ghost. "Quick, after him." They ascended and chased after the helicopter. "What can we do to stop him? We're dead." "I have an idea. Do you recall when your gun hand froze?" "Yes, I could have escaped if not for that happening." "That was another ghost. She stuck her hand in yours and froze your hand. I've been practicing to do that." "Okay, and how do you stop the chopper?" "What if the chopper, or rather the pilot, encountered a problem?" "Oh, I get it. They sped up to reach the helicopter. Do you know how to do it?" "You just stick your hand in his and think freeze." The ghosts entered the helicopter. The boss was at the controls, and bags of loot filled the back seat. Thief Ghost stuck his hand into the boss's head and thought freeze. "It's not working," he said. "Can I try?" asked Henchman Ghost. "Be my guest." The Henchman Ghost tried and had better results. The boss released the stick and clutched his head in agony. "Keep going," said Thief Ghost. With the boss immobilized in pain, his helicopter was out of control and descending rapidly. "I've another idea," said Henchman Ghost. He stuck his hand into the control panel. sparks flew out and the panel went dead. The boss pulled back on the stick, but it was sluggish at best. He panicked as the ground rushed up to meet him. The helicopter landed hard. Fortunately, it landed on grass. The rotors broke off and the boss's seat belt held. By sheer luck, he'd survived a crash landing. The ghosts looked around and laughed. The boss reached behind for his bags of loot. He hadn't looked outside the helicopter yet. If he had, he'd realized he'd landed in the middle of the lion exhibit at the local zoo. Several lions approached the downed helicopter since the noise had died down. Unfortunately, the crash had broken off his side door. A female lion reached inside and dragged the boss outside with her teeth. "Dinner time!" The boss screamed one last time before several lions tore him apart. Cairo 7 News, Seattle. Today, a helicopter crash-landed in the Seattle Zoo. The helicopter, with one occupant, landed inside the lion enclosure. The lions ate the occupant before zookeepers could do anything. Investigators from the FAA have not completed their investigation of the crash. They report the helicopter was privately owned by a downtown businessman. They believe he was piloting the helicopter when it crashed. The helicopter also contained several bags of money, which the lions tore open and spread on the ground. No visitors had the courage to enter a lion enclosure and face lions who'd just eaten someone. Zookeepers later tranquilized the lions and moved them to cages, pending the outcome of the investigation. They'll likely euthanize the lions after they killed the businessman. Updated 11. Ed returned home. The security guard he rode with took his car to the garage, while Ed walked in the front entrance. The security guard at the checkpoint greeted him. "Hello, sir. Glad to see you return safely." "Me too. I had to go. The villain had my friend." "Miss Morgan is in the family room, sir." "Thank you." Ed left for the family room. Ellen stood as soon as she saw him. They hugged. "Ed, I'm so glad to see you alive and well. Is Washta okay?" "She's gone to the hospital, but she'll recover. The villain knocked her about, but he won't do that again." "You'll have to tell me about it." They sat on the sofa, holding hands. Absaroki the crow got Mohi the bear to help. Mohi terrified the villain, and he ran out the front door in panic. "Wow." "I know. That wasn't my doing. I merely witnessed the event." "Then what?" "The villain met with your security detail. They dealt with him. I had no involvement." "So you don't have any guilt over his death?" she asked. "I didn't kill him. He hurt our friend, and then ran into your security detail waving a gun. What happened was a consequence of his own actions." "Well, it's one less villain to hurt people." "Agreed." Ed's phone rang. "Hello? Ed, it's Noah Johnson. Since I know the model of your phone, there should be a yellow button marked clear. Can you please press it?" Ed looked at the phone and he saw the yellow button. He pressed it. The button became green and now said scrambled. "Hello? Our call is now secure, so we can talk freely. Did you see the news?" "No, I just returned home." "An amusing incident happened today. A certain mob boss landed his helicopter inside the lion enclosure at the zoo. You won't hear from him again." "That's reassuring news. I can report another henchman gone as well." "Congratulations on that. We also cleared out their headquarters. We've wiped out a chunk of organized crime in Seattle." "I'm relieved to hear that. I didn't like a target on my back. How's Officer Ure doing?" "Officer Ure is recovering. I sent in a doctor's note saying he's off sick with flu. I also forged an email from Detective Rees, handing in his resignation. Thanks to you, we've made a dent in organized crime." "Officer Ure is a good person. Thank you so much for your help." "You're welcome. I'll let you know when and where you can see him soon." The call ended. Ed turned to Ellen. "That was my contact with the CIA. He told me a certain mob boss met with an unfortunate accident. Really? It wasn't their doing. The villain did it to himself. The CIA gutted their organization, so we should be in the clear. That is good news. We'll wait a few days before changing our security protocols. Okay with me. What's next on the agenda? I moved the tailor to tomorrow. Also, Grace has scheduled a meeting with your attorney to review the prenup agreement. If the villains give us some peace, I'll gladly keep those appointments. Good. Now I was thinking about sushi for dinner. That sounds excellent to me. The thief ghost and henchman ghost floated around the lion enclosure. They watched the zookeepers tranquilize the lions and move them all to holding cages. I think most of our boss is inside that one, said Thief Ghost, pointing at a rather plump lion. He grinned. Probably they all got a taste. I'm surprised none of the lions got sick from eating him. They made various jokes, watching keepers gathering up the money and filling 2 large wheelbarrows. Then a new ghost appeared, resembling their late boss, but covered in chains. Hey boss, is that you? The ghostly chains waned down the boss ghost, and he remained earthbound. I can't move, he said. Hey, that reminds me of that movie. The chains represent your life of greed, said Henchman Ghost. Get these bloody chains off me. We can't. They're yours. You earn them, said Thief Ghost. I don't want to spend eternity in a bloody lion exhibit. I know, it sucks, eh? I got dumped in a lake, and this one died in a police cell. The boss ghost growled and yelled at them. Of course, no one heard them. The exhibit was closed. Well, that wraps up chapter 36. And next episode, we have chapter 37. Ed meets with an attorney. Ellen meets Washta. And Ed and Ellen visit Officer Ure. And it's dinner and a movie with Kate and Ellie. So, see you next episode. Bye.